Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sue with Homesteading with Sue, and today I'm going to teach you how to do a 14-day bread dough that you can leave in your refrigerator for 14 days. Here I have 3 cups of warm water, less than 100 degrees, and then we want to put in 2 tablespoons of yeast. We're going to stir it together. We don't want the water any hotter than 100 degrees because it will not let your yeast activate. And then we will need 3½ cups of all-purpose flour. This is a 2-cup measure. There's 2. And 4. And I'm going to go ahead and put in my 1½ tablespoons of salt. I'm going to go ahead and stir this together. It will be a wet dough, so you can either put a little bit of flour on your hands, or you can wet your hands. So that was 4 cups, so I'm going to put the next 2 cups in, which will be 6. And then 1/2 cup. And this dough can be used for breadsticks or bread, cinnamon rolls, anything you want to use it for in the 14 days. Towards the end, though, of course, you know, it still works fine, but it doesn't raise quite as much after it's been in there the 14 days. Whoops. I should have used a little bigger bowl. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, I've already washed my hands. Go ahead and pull this off of here. I'm going to wet my hands. I'm just going to stir this with my hand. And make a mess, of course. Okay, after that is nice and mixed in, we're going to let it sit for 2 hours covered. I'm going to actually change bowls with it. I'm going to put it in this bowl and then put a towel over the top of it. Like I said, it's a sticky dough. We need to let it rise for 2 hours. All right, so our ingredients were 3 cups of 100-degree water, 2 tablespoons of active yeast, 6.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and 1.5 tablespoons of salt. And we'll add the warm. What we did was we added the warm water to the bowl, and then added yeast and stirred. Then we added the flour and salt. Stir until all ingredients are incorporated. And you saw that I actually went through using my hands with some water. Cover with a lid or plastic wrap and a towel and leave at room temperature for 2 hours, which is what we're doing now. And transfer the dough to the refrigerator and let sit at least half an hour before you want to use it to make bread. So I'm going to show you how to make breadsticks and probably, I'm thinking cinnamon rolls, but I'm not sure on that. But we could make an actual loaf of bread like we did last week with the sourdough ingredients. So I will be back in 2 hours. All right, it's been 2 hours since I started this bread dough. I'm going to go ahead and push on it and get it to go down. I'm going to put on my lid and I'm going to leave 2 of the sides unlatched so that it can breathe. And in 15 minutes, I can make whatever I would like with this after it's been in the refrigerator for the 15 minutes. But I probably won't do anything with it tonight. And I'll be back to you tomorrow. Alright, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sue with Homesteading with Sue. And today I am going to show you how to make cinnamon rolls with the master dough. And this is what it looks like after it's been in the refrigerator. It's been a week because I got busy and wasn't able to do anything with it. So I have approximately 4 tablespoons of butter here. I'm just going to put it in my pan with some brown sugar. We could put a little more in there. And then we're going to go ahead and heat this pan up, and I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven. Alright, so I got the brown sugar and the butter in the oven, and I'm going to let it caramelize so that there's a topping for the cinnamon rolls. So I'm going to use half of the master dough bread recipe to do this. And for the pan glaze, it's a half a cup of butter and a half a cup of brown sugar. And then for the cinnamon roll dough, it's half for the master loaf, which I already said, and then a 1/4 to a cup of all-purpose flour so that it doesn't stick and so that it doesn't stick to the counter and it is easier to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and for the filling, it's a 1/4 of a cup of melted butter, and then cinnamon to taste, and a half a cup of brown sugar. And you can add nuts or whatever to it. I'm using a 9x13 baking dish, or you can use a cast iron skillet. The choice is yours. And like I said, I've already placed the butter and the brown sugar in the bottom of the pan to make that glaze. Dust the counter with flour and place the master dough on it. Start with 1/4 of a cup on the dough and knead until the dough doesn't stick to the counter. And then you'll want to roll into a rectangle. Spread with softened butter. Sprinkle with cinnamon, sugar, and toppings of your choice. And then we'll roll it into like a sleeping bag. And I'll use thread to cut it. And let it rise for 20 to 25 minutes in the pan. When all the rolls are touching and it's ready to do that, I'm actually going to just leave my house and come back. So when I come back, I'll just finish the video. And then you'll preheat the oven to 375 degrees, and you bake the rolls for 20 to 25 minutes. Remove from the pan, and you put onto a platter or a large plate, and scrape any remaining. That's not flour. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put some flour on the counter, or actually a table. I'm going to use half of this dough. Put it on the counter just like that. We're going to knead that flour into the dough so we can go ahead and get it rolled out. It's going to be hard to roll because it does have yeast in it, so the yeast makes it fly back at you when you're rolling it. Always start in the middle and roll out. See how tough that is to roll? And it should make 12 rolls. Okay, so I didn't think about getting any butter out, so I'm just going to use what I have right here. It'll be fine. Okay. Now I'm going to put some brown sugar on it. And I'm going to use some cinnamon to taste. I like cinnamon, so I'm just going to put some on. Okay. Now we're just going to... Actually, I'm going to check my butter. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and stir this around. So it all gets together. And that looks perfect to me. So the hard part on this is to rolling up this dough and then getting it into that pan. So go ahead and roll it as tight as we can get it. Okay, we want to leave seam side down, and then we will use this thread to cut it. Just like that. You can also use a sharp knife for this, but most of the time the string works better. All right, the last two in. All right, so we're gonna let it raise, and then I will bake them. All right, so this is several hours later, and I'm just about to bake them now. It's at 375 for 20 to 25 minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright, so this is what the back side of the cinnamon rolls look like before I take them out of the pan after cooking for 25 minutes. Look how nice and gooey those look. I'm going to go ahead and try one and see how it tastes. Alright, since I already have my mess on this table with brown sugar and butter, and cinnamon, I'm going to go ahead and make this other loaf of bread into an actual like sandwich loaf, so we can use it for brown sugar and cinnamon toast. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of flour to the counter. I have already made my loaf pan oiled. I'm going to get the rest of this dough out of here. Just going to put a little bit of flour on it and then knead it like I did before. Rolling pin back. This spread out just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put some brown sugar in the middle. Let's put some more than that now. And some cinnamon. Then I'm just going to roll it up. Seam side down, of course. I'm going to fold in the sides just a little bit. Put some brown sugar on top of it. Some cinnamon. All right. So we're going to let that do some rising. And then I'm going to clean up my mess. And I'll be back with you when I'm ready to cook it. All right, so this is what the bread loaf looked like that I made cinnamon and brown sugar bread with. And I'm going to go ahead and, when I cook it or bake it, I'm going to go ahead and bake it at 375 for 40 minutes. And then it should be done. Look at this awesome loaf of bread. The reason it's so dark on top is the brown sugar and the cinnamon. But otherwise it looks fantastic. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye.